Hello. Thank you for joining me. It would be nice if you guys would subscribe to the channel, like, share, leave a comment down below if you also like what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here waiting for my daughter to get done with her basketball game. The noise was just outrageous tonight. I can't take it. Someone that deals with migraines, but I'm sitting outside in the car and I'm waiting for her to get done. And I'm thinking about baggage in the relationship because I was married for almost 20 years and then got a divorce, and I've had a few relationships since then, and they didn't quite last. I'm thinking that maybe it's because of the baggage that I brought with me, and it was detrimental to those relationships, and they really could have worked out had I checked my baggage, before boarding the plane. And I am sitting here thinking, like, what are the detriments of bringing baggage into another relationship? Like, those bags need to be checked before boarding, because it can really wreak havoc on your trip. So I actually had some notes. As I was thinking, I jotted down some notes that I wanted to talk on, and I'm like, this is really something that is a good topic. And not only am I speaking to my audience, speaking to you guys, I'm also speaking to myself. And I always like to use myself as an example in everything that I bring about. So just to know, I'm not perfect, and I don't claim to be. Don't even act like I am, because oh my goodness, it's perfection just ain't me. But some of my notes I wanted to talk about was the effects that baggage causes in almost every relationship. Emotional, I wrote down psychological, physical, and we carry these baggages in our relationships that is just, they can tear things apart. Something that could have been beautiful just can't be so, because you're tagging along all this weight behind you from the past. So, but when we talk about baggage, I'm looking at my notes as I speak, because I can't remember everything that comes down. So, write it down, make it plain. But when we talk about baggage, I'm referring to unresolved issues. I'm talking about traumas. I'm talking about habits. I'm talking about the emotional scars that we tend to accumulate over time. And everyone has some level of baggage. Like, it's just a natural part of living and experiencing life or whatever. So you might carry a fanny pack baggage, or some people might carry a roll along baggage through their airport because they didn't check their baggage. You know what I'm saying? Or some people might have a whole set. But to each his own. But everyone does have some level of baggage that they carry around with them. And problem arises when we bring this baggage into the relationship without addressing it, or acknowledging the fact that it is there. So it creates cracks in the foundation of what might otherwise be a loving and healthy relationship. Like, the house can fall if your foundation is not strong. You ever bought a new build, or any kind of house at that matter, and the foundation kind of shifts, and then you have cracks in the wall, or the windows don't go up like they should, or you have things that go wrong when the foundation is not solid. You know, so, but let's unpack this. Let's unpack our baggage and let's figure out where it really comes from, okay? And my points are baggage can originate from many sources. Childhood trauma. A lot of us experience different kinds of childhood trauma, whether it's abuse, neglect, feeling left alone, or just some unresolved issue that we had as a child that was not acknowledged by our parents or whoever we saw in that guardianship or that mentorship. Doesn't matter what age you come from, we all can bring along our childhood traumas with us. Another one was previous romantic relationships. Now that is where a lot of us also have a lot of baggage coming from, where, and I will say myself, we have different things that go on in our past relationships that went unresolved. And now that the relationship is gone, or we don't have that relationship anymore, we fail to address those issues. We fail to go get counseling, or we fail to, just look at that ugly bag in the face and be like, boo, I got you. We finna handle you. We finna get this ugly bag out here, because who cares ugly bags? We don't like ugly bags. All right, ladies? Men as well. Y'all don't want no ugly, whatever y'all want to call it, manny packs, or whatever you want to call it. And then we can have family dynamics. Like, some of us have some crazy family dynamics. I grew up in a dynamic of a family that's another day, another story. But we have even our personal issues, our personal insecurities. Like, I can say, like, my forehead, or my teeth, or my belly, or I'm not loud enough, or not soft enough, or it's just something that's personal to us that we feel that is not what or where we want it to be, But imagine growing up in a household where, this was what I wrote down. I said, imagine growing up in a household where love was conditional and where conflict was the norm. I love you I love you I love you after you do say or be, and every day there was some kind of conflict going on, arguing, fussing and fighting, tension in the air, just some kind of chaos was normal every day. Imagine growing up in a household like that. And I owe an apology to my children, because my ex-husband and I, we argued. It was like almost normal. We argued, and then as much as I tried, I don't know, I can't speak for him, but as much as I tried not to have these arguments in front of the children, they ended up in front of the children. And only God knows, and these children know, and I can empathize or sympathize with them, the damage that was done to them, or they realizing at a young age, I don't want to get married, or relationships are just too difficult, or and that's not how I want my children to view relationships or marriage or partnership. Just no, I did not want to instill in them that chaos is the norm, but you might carry a fear of abandonment. Maybe your father left, maybe your mother left, maybe someone died. They didn't leave on purpose, but maybe they passed away and you felt that they abandoned you. That can also go back to a personal insecurity or a personal issue that needs to be addressed within that person. What else do I have? Or you could experience a heartbreak or betrayal in past relationships. These wounds can lead to trust issues. I had trust issues, and I still kind of have these issues. They are few and far behind me now, but You can have trust issues. What other kind of issues did I write down? Self-doubt. And some of us have the tendency to sabotage our current relationships out of fear. Fear of the unknown of what might happen, or fear of the unknown that it may happen again, or if I say this, this might happen. If I do this, this might happen, or something of of those lines. Like, you're just scared. And I actually, that was one of my baggages, fear. With these things, you can have a tendency to have a fear of repeating old patterns. Like, I'll tell you this, guys. So there was always a pattern that if I didn't say something the way my ex felt it needed to be said, there was an argument or a fight. And then it seemed like everything that he was probably holding in, everything I was holding in, it all came to the surface and things got ugly. And there's a such thing as fighting fair, not hitting below the belt, and we violated all those things. And I can say I have not always been mindful of what come out of my mouth. Now I still kind of have a semi-filter, I think. I have a semi-filter. But I had no filter whatsoever. What came up is what came out. I've spoke my mind. Didn't hold punches. It was, ooh, I was ugly. But let's keep going. Okay, so the problem with unchecked baggage I put on here is twofold. I have on here, number one, it prevents you from being fully present in the relationship. Number two, it can unfairly burden your partner, turning them into a surrogate therapist instead of an equal. Like, if you still harboring the past, the things that you've been through, the things that you've endured, the hurt, the anger, you can't be fully present in the relationship that you're in, because you're always going to find something. There's always going to be a trigger. There's always going to be something that you will my thoughts fleets me right now, and I didn't write this part down, but you will always tend to put this trigger along with something. Say, like, when me and my ex were together, I remember we were going to Germany. I'm a veteran. I'm an Army veteran, and we were flying over to Germany, and he had a seizure. And me trying to operate as a soldier and operate as a wife, they kind of conflicted because the military thing was new to me. And my senior NCO wanted to meet the family when we got in, and I was like, okay. I thought my husband was fine. He was over the seizure. He was back to normal. But when I went to proceed and have this cordial meeting or whatever, just, come over, have dinner, or go over to my senior NCO, have dinner or whatever, my husband at the time was like, no, I just had a seizure today. I'm not well. But he was just telling me everything was fine, cool beans, and me not thinking or not having the mindset, well, yeah, we just had a traumatic day. Maybe he's not up to meeting anybody right now. But every 4th of July was a baggage because of that incident. It got to the point where I didn't want to celebrate the 4th of July because of the big argument and the big, it was really ugly. But that was a baggage that I brought along. Just a little snippet. Let me move on. But and having your mate become a therapist, you're unloading all these unhealthy what is my word? It just fleets me. These unhealthy emotions, unhealthy habits, unhealthy these scars that was accumulated. We're unloading them on our person, and they're steady trying to pick up the pieces and trying to put them back together again, like Humpty Dumpty and his cracked shell. Like, they're trying to put those pieces back together to make you whole again. But on their side, they may be breaking apart because they don't know how to truly love someone that is broken to that capacity. And that's unfair to your partner. That's unfair to your mate. So how does this baggage manifest in a relationship was my next thought. And I was thinking, and I'm like, what is a common way that it manifests? And I came up with communication, because communication is one of the mishandled things in a relationship. Communication. And this is what I wrote down. I wrote, one of the most common ways is through communication in which baggage manifests in a relationship, or the lack thereof. Okay? I said, people with unresolved issues often struggle to express their needs or emotions clearly without being harsh, rude, rough. There's a way to get this done in a meaningful manner, in a, I don't want to say in a soft manner, but in a way that does not intrude on the next person and their feelings. So I put on there, they might shut down during arguments. I am one of those people. I will shut down. I will voice my opinion. I will tell you how I'm feeling. But if I get to the point where I have to raise my voice and I'm arguing and you're not hearing me, or you're not understanding me, but you are forcing your thoughts and your ways onto me, I will shut down. I will just sit there and let you argue by yourself. Even when you've done arguing a week later, I will probably still not talk to you. I have shut down. And that is one of the baggages that I do carry. And I realize that. I notice it. I recognize it as a problem that I do have. And another one is, you might lash out irrationally and avoid confrontation altogether. Sometimes I would see my ex-husband coming and I would go the other way. Or I just wouldn't even look him in the eye and I just walk right past him. We became ships in a dark sea. Just pass each other by. Trying to avoid crashing. Avoiding head-on collisions. That's what it came down to. Another way baggage shows up through is through patterns of behavior. What did I put on here? Have you ever noticed someone who jumps from one relationship to the next, never staying single long enough to heal? That's baggage in action. Or perhaps someone overcompensates in their relationships. Like, sometimes I notice that I can be an overcompensator. I try to prove my worth because I secretly fear that I'm not good enough. After my marriage, after my divorce, even though I initiated this divorce, I just felt that I really wasn't good enough for the next person that might come along and truly and dearly love me for who I am. And that was because I toted baggage from what was spoken to me from my ex-husband, saying the next man that you want, that the next man that you get is not going to love you. He's going to beat you. He's going to treat you worse than the way I treated you. And I'm like, those are some hurtful words to say. And I carried those words with me in my relationships until I realized that was nothing but the devil at work. After I failed relationships, that was nothing but the devil at work. And my eyes were open, you know. But where did I leave off at? So these behaviors might seem harmless at first, but over time they create resentment. They can create resentment, imbalance, and exhaustion in a relationship. You can be exhausted from overcompensating. You can be exhausted by lashing out. You can be exhausted just by avoiding confrontation altogether because you're trying to figure out what in the hell within yourself. It makes you tired. It makes you mentally drained and physically drained, and it's just a lot. So I want to be clear, okay? Baggage does not affect the person carrying it. Not only does it affect the person that's carrying it, but it also impacts their partner. They can act disproportionately to small disagreements because they associate the conflict with abandonment. I'm not sure where I was going with that thought, but I wrote it down because it came to my head. But that's what I wrote down. I said, let's be clear, baggage does not affect the person carrying. Not only does it affect the person carrying it, it also impacts their partner. And I put on there, imagine being in a relationship where you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells. That's where I was going with that. Unsure when your partner's might rear its head, or maybe they'll react disproportionately or small disagreements because they associate conflict with abandonment. Or perhaps they cling too tightly because they fear losing you, smothering your sense of independence. So that's where I was going. I used to walk on eggshells, not knowing what may come of whatever I say, whatever I do. If I exhale the wrong way, if I cook the wrong dinner or something thereof the third time in a row, because maybe that's all we had. I didn't know what might come out, so to speak. But, over time, this creates a dynamic where loves feel more like a chore than a joy. And I got to the point where everything felt like a chore. Being a wife was a chore. Cooking dinner was a chore. Sex was a chore. Being polite was a chore. Even walking in my own femininity was a chore. That's how I knew things had to change. Things had to change. So I put on here, so what's the solution? How do we prevent our baggage from sabotaging our relationships? That was a question that I asked myself several times. Like, what do I do? How do I do it? How do I start doing it? How do I implement it? Because I've got to get rid of these luggages. I have to get rid of this bag. That makes me think of, who is it? Lauryn Hill, Bag Lady. Yeah, got to get rid of these bags, You gonna miss your train or bus or whatever she was finna get on. She was finna miss it because she had all them doggone bags. Like, I don't want to miss my relationship that God has for me because I'm toting all this baggage from my past. I need that trash bag, that laundry bag, that plastic bag, that paper bag, that whatever bag, the bag, the bag that holds the bags. I want to get rid of those bags because I don't want to miss my kingdom marriage or my kingdom partnership, my kingdom anything, because I'm toting baggage around. I'm not missing my kingdom husband because I've got all these bags on my back. I can't love him properly because I'm back here with the bags. I want what God has for me. He's not going to make me miss my blessing. I'm going to make me miss my blessing. And I ain't dealing with that. Got it? Okay, so bag lady, get on back there. Okay, but it's also important to recognize when your partner has their own baggage. Relationships are a two-way street. And while you're working on yourself, your partner might also have their own healing to do. Offer them grace. Offer them space. Offer them give them boundaries. Okay, it's not our job to absorb someone else's emotional load if they're unwilling to address it themselves. I put a star by that. Let me read that to you again. It is not our job to absorb someone else's emotional load if they are unwilling to address it themselves. Now I'm speaking to myself. If I am unwilling to address my issues, it is no one else's responsibility to address it for me. Because they can't get over it for me. They can't recognize it for me to get over it. They can't heal me. They can't do anything unless I'm willing to do this by and for myself. They can assist, and that goes back to the therapist type deal, but they can't do it for me. I have to want this, and I want this. Okay, so by doing this, the key to recognizing it is to take responsibility for it and actively work to heal it. Actively work to heal it. And by doing so, you create a space for a relationship built on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Okay, so next time you find yourself, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right now because I see my daughter is coming. So the next time you find yourself holding on to some pain, ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this serving my mate? Or is it sabotaging us and our happiness? Okay, let that question be your compass as you navigate the delicate balance of healing after broken love. Or should I say, love and healing. Okay, so with all that being said, let's get rid of all this baggage that we tote along. Let's unload this so that while we're walking to our gate, to our relationship, to our marriage, to our kingdom marriage, go ahead and get those bags unloaded so it could be a light walk. You won't have to tote all those bags. And by the time you unloading these bags, whew, bag one, whew, this bag, whew, that bag should turn back around so I can still talk a little bit. And this bag, whew, you're taking these bags off your back and you are not realizing that you're unloading these bags onto your mate. They're taking on your baggage. They're holding this bag. Give me this bag, this bag, that bag. And when you look up, where is your partner? Where is your spouse? Where is your mate? Where is your husband? Where is your wife? Under all that baggage you just unloaded on them. So let's take responsibilities for our baggage, okay? Let's know or recognize the dangers of bringing baggage into a relationship. Okay, so until then, everybody, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for enduring it. And if you made it this far in the video, go ahead, click like, click share. Leave me a comment. That's what I want to do. Interact with me. Leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel also. Okay, again, bye, love. Love you.